Hey, it's CurlyHairedVanguard. We're doing some more Vanguard ZERO today, going up against Nuba Tama, which is very, very strange and frustrating. I've tried to do this intro a couple of times that I messed up the audio, and all those times that all those matches that I ended up doing were against Vanquisher, which is the worst matchup for this deck. Now we're doing Nuba Tama, which is a deck that I kind of hate because it makes you discard. But in any case, thanks to Fighter's Collection, a lot of decks have gotten, a touch of support. They've gotten counter-charging PGs, Stride Fodder, and a couple of Strides, 2 each, for each clan, which is really nice. Which has, favored a couple of clans over some others. Some of them got whatever support that doesn't really help them yet, and some clans actually got some pretty viable support, such as Tachikaze. So they got 2 pieces of support. They have, as I mentioned, the PGs, which are really nice, the Stride Fodder, which is questionable, and then they got 2 Strides that are actually pretty solid. The first one here, Destruction Tyrant Arc Raider. Basically, when you attack Vanguard, you retire one of your rear guards to get 5k, and if at the end of that battle, you just retire one of your opponent's rear guards, which is, pretty nice. Then there's also Super Ancient Dragon, Pearly Titan. And what he does is if you have an Ancient Dragon art, you can call a card. You don't have to do this. You can call a card from your hand, then retire 2 cards on both sides of the field, and then he gets attack equal to the sum of their attack. And if his attack is greater than, or rather if the increase is greater than 20,000, he gets a crit. The only way that happens is if you retire a grade 3 and a 9k grade 2 or something like that. He binded my, oh great, he killed my thing. Well, that's unfortunate. So I guess we'll go into this. The second effect you don't really get to use as often. There's not really a lot of good grade 3s that you really want to retire, and likewise your opponent doesn't really play grade 3s often that you can actually retire. There are a couple of chances where it might happen, but you don't really want to retire the grade 3, you'd rather retire their intercept. And that's kind of what you use the effect for, is just to retire intercepts, which is really good because Tachikaze already has multi-attack, so that just about guarantees you 2 attacks to the face minimum every turn, which is really good. Alright, at least we're going second, which is also very good, because we are still playing the Legion, because the other way to do it with just Tyranno and Spino is just a little bit too clunky. We can't really do much right now, actually. This is a little troublesome. I can hard stride into something, which actually I think I might actually end up doing, just so I can pop this starter that's very, very annoying in his deck. So let's get rid of, I guess, 2 Dino Crowd, which is a bit unfortunate. Dino Crowd is very, very good in this deck. You only have 4 of them, but he's very good. He's one of the only ways that you can on attack retire something on the field, on your side of the field, which then lets you proc something like Tyranobite, which is the other good card. So these are basically the cornerstones of the whole deck here. So what I can do here is I can go ahead and play my Dino Crowd with my Tyranobite, then go ahead and swing in with the Tyranobite, then go in with Dino Crowd. He's going to go ahead and eat up the Tyranobite, but then Tyranobite allows himself to come back because he's basically a grade 2 Iguana Ward. And granted, I can't do anything with this at this moment, but had I played the Stride Fodder as a booster, I don't really want to because I need to stride next turn, I could have gotten 2 attacks to the face here. But instead, we're just going to swing in here, and I could eat the Dino Crowd again, I guess, for another counter blast. Which is nice because I don't really lose any board presence. I do lose the counter blast, which is a bit troublesome. This deck has some problems with counter charging. They do have a Soul Blast 2 5k counter charger, which is, cute and all. Doesn't really matter, nothing else is gonna hit. It's cute and all, but at the same time, you really need some power so your rears can actually hit. So it's not the best card to run. I believe you are lucky in that it is an ancient dragon. One of the main problems with the stride is that it is not an ancient dragon. So I really don't like playing it down because I can't retire it for any of the effects, because all of these effects require an ancient dragon, which is kind of annoying. But yeah, that's the main game plan. Try to go into Legion to get your triggers back and get your effects off, which I'll go over in a second. And then you want to combo with these two guys, and then just, you know, swing at face. If you can, use the Pearly Titan just to finish off, to snipe and intercept and get some more attacks into the face. Because you can have like the Toronto Bite here, going to Pearly Titan, retire, let's say this intercept. Toronto Bite, like I said, it attacks the final intercept. Dino Crowd attacks here, brings eats the Toronto Bite, brings it itself back, and then you can attack and attack again, and that's 3 attacks to the face, which is pretty good, especially if they're at like 5 or something like that. This card is basically your backup Dino Crowd. He's not as good. He is nice because he does countercharge. He does essentially the same thing. The only problem is that you have to be on Legion, which is kind of rough sometimes, especially against decks like Vanquisher, which removes stuff from your drop zone. So it's very hard to play this deck against Vanquisher. Tyranno Bite, or the Tyranno Quake, is very nice here. I might... this is tough. Because there's not really too much that I can do right now. I can go into this to try and push, but I can't do anything with it. So I'm better off using it as an attacker, unfortunately. I can, I guess, Legion to get some stuff back. There's not really too much of a benefit from... Well, there's a small benefit for me striding. Which I guess we can do. Let's go ahead and go into Pearly Titan. We'll discard the Stride Fodder. Here. And let's see if we can draw something good. Vanguard is okay. Would have preferred something a little bit more substantial, so we can kill this and this. Since 11 plus 9 is 20, we're actually going to get a critical on top of that. We can just only really play the Iguanagorg, because... Or sorry, the Tyranno Bite, because there's no point in playing the Iguanagorg. We have no way to retire this. But as I was saying, I think it's called the Knight Armor. Yeah, the Knight Armor is a great card. It's just really tricky to use because you have to be in Legion. And if you go ahead and stride, even if you Legion beforehand, you are no longer technically in Legion, which is really dumb and annoying. So it just makes him a vanilla 9k attacker, which is really useless. So you really just want to focus on getting your Tyranno Bites and your Dino Crowds, which is very rough for me because I've already gotten three of them. That's just how it be sometimes. The Magma Armor kind of helps this out a little bit. His effect is whenever one of your rear guards is retired during your turn, you can counterblast one to bring it back. So if you have, let's say, the Knight Armor and then a Dino Crowd, or even 2 Dino Crowds, they can like eat each other and bring each other back, which is kind of nice. But you're better off using it with like something like a Tyranno Bite, and you try bringing him back multiple times. Because you can do a lot of interesting things depending on what you have on the board. Like, for example, one of the things that might not be so obvious is that if you overcall a unit during your turn, that counts as a retire. And you can actually proc one of the skills that lets you then bring that card back, which is really nice. And get the Tyranno Bite. We don't have to discard, which is nice. I could stride again. Go into Pearly Titan, get another crit, and then swing at face, hope to draw into nothing good, really. Honestly, there's nothing I can draw here that'll be good, unless it's another intercept, then we can get 2 attacks to the face. That's it. Other than that, I can stride, put a bunch of stuff back, which is nice, but then I have no way of winning this turn. And I also don't really have a definitive way of not losing this turn. So I think my best bet here is to go into another Pearly Titan here. And discard this Magma Armor. As I said, you don't have to call a unit if you don't want to. I could call a unit here to give him more attack, but there's no way he's going to get enough attack So we're going to say cannot call, but we are going to be able to retire anyways. We're only going to get 900, which is unfortunate, but it doesn't really matter. At least this lets us survive, but again, there's no point in me playing down the Iguanagorg, because I can't stand this guy right now with my current board. So okay, that draw helps out a lot, because I just really needed something else other than this one Trinobite that I've been recycling because it keeps binding it and then I keep getting it back in my hand. So now next turn, I can actually Legion and try and go for something. If I can manage to pull a Tyrannoquake, Wake, it'd be really nice, but that's not going to happen because they're all in the drop or in the damage. Because Magma Armor is great. It's just he doesn't proc retiring with any of his attacks, which is kind of annoying because I have no way to bring my units back. So I might possibly have to Stride next turn and go into the other Legion because that does retire on attack. But we'll see what happens here. We're going to be able to block that. This does is just the basic Legion, doesn't really do anything because it didn't hit. We're going to get an Iguanagorg. So, oh, that sucks. I could go in for 3 attacks this turn. Try and win that way. He's more than likely got 3 guards in hand, considering this is all he played this turn, right? Yeah, I can't really do much with this hand, regretfully. I can discard PG and the Great 2 and try and draw into it something, but that's kind of pointless, right? I think we won't Stride. Let's go ahead and Legion really quickly. We want to stay alive, so put in as many heals as we can, and maybe a Tyrannoquake, see if we can draw into that. And then yeah, I guess I'll try and go 3 attacks to the face, because I don't survive next turn, because he already has 2 attacks. So let's just go here, here, here. Oh, come on. There we go. Swing into the face here. Oh, wait, he's only at... I forget, he's only at 4. Damn it. Either way, I didn't survive next turn. I don't think. This heal is cute and all, but this I don't think is enough, because there's only... Oh, it's actually 19. Okay, I thought it was a little less. Yeah, there's another heal guard. Because, I mean, now that I healed, yes, I would have survived, but if he plays anything else, I'm dead. Oh. This gets a boost, doesn't it? Oh, okay, it doesn't actually get a boost. But he did manage to get the trigger. Yeah, so I guess I could have kept the PG. I guess my odds of drawing a heal were a lot higher than I thought it was, but oh well. Played, high risk, low reward. That's just how it is sometimes. So here's the actual deck here. I'm playing 4 of the Stride Fodder, the Prism Bird. You could instead take this out and play something like the 7k. Let's go actually look up a card to 7k that lets you retire on attack. That's a very good option. I was playing that originally, but I ran into some situations where it just wasn't working out. The Galton Gyro. The Stride Fighter is nice, but often, since you know this is the Legion deck, you want to kind of go and discard your triggers so you can put them back into the deck. But whoops, more often than not, you will not get them, as this game tends to do. We'll play a bunch of the new PGs, and then one of the Geoconda, just so you can countercharge. You do go through your counterblast really quickly, but I haven't really ran into issues where I just didn't have any counterblast. Because you only really do 1 counterblast like each turn, maybe 2, so it's not huge, but you definitely want to have something just in case. I don't think you need more of these. And then just 4 of the Iguanagorg. Iguanagorg is great, especially if you have 2 of them and something like a Dinocrowd or Knight Armor. You can eat an Iguanagorg, and then his effect, whenever he's retired during your turn, you can, and if your Vanguard is an Ancient Dragon, which your entire deck is Ancient Dragon, you can actually call him back. If you have a whole column of it, you can call on the top of another Iguana Gorg and then proc the other Iguana Gorgs to put it on top, so you can reset that whole column, and that's 14, so that can swing at face, you know, if your opponent's only at 11. So it's pretty nice. And also, its effect by itself is nice just because you get to bring back a booster. Especially if it's like been used, or if you just need something to retire and you want to keep the board presence. It's very good. For the starter, we're actually playing the Baby Rex. Since this is a Legion deck, this does actually let me just create an Ancient Dragon Tyranno Legend from thin air, which is very nice. And it it helps you out for getting 4 cards to Legion very quickly, because it does create 1 out of thin air, and also retires itself, or it's retired from its effect to actually proc. But then also you get an extra trigger in deck. Unfortunately, since I'm not playing any Tyranno Legends in the main deck, it defaults to a crit, which is fine. You know, playing 9 draws, 1 crit seems okay to me, right? But yeah, the grade 2s, as I mentioned, are 4 of the Tyrannobyte, 4 of the Knight Armor, 4 of the Dino Crowd, and then 1 of this, just because I needed 1 more Ancient Dragon, and there's not really a lot of other good grade 2s that I can find. This just gets, if you have an Ancient Dragon Vanguard, he just gets 3k, which is fine. Knight Armor, if you're on Legion, you can retire an Ancient Dragon to get 5k, and if the attack hits a Vanguard, you can countercharge. Tyrannobyte, when it's retired, it comes back for Counter Blast 1. In Dino Crowd, you can retire an Ancient Dragon to give him 5k. Tyranno Quake is pretty interesting. He's a Legion with Tyrannobyte. You can, during your battle phase, if anything is retired, he gets 5k. And if you're in Legion, he gets a critical. Well, sorry, during your turn, if something is retired, you get 5k. But if you're in Legion and in the battle phase, he gets 5k in a critical, I should say. So that's a very nice way to put some pressure on. The Magma Armor, if anything is retired during your battle phase, once per turn, you can counterblast 1 and bring it back, which is very nice. And then finally, I just play 1 copy of the Spinal Driver. It doesn't really make a difference. You can play the Tyranno Legend and send it to a draw, so you can get 10 draws if you'd like. You might end up decking out, honestly, because you go through your deck pretty easily. Since it is a Legion deck, you can very easily put a lot of draws back. You can try the Dark Rex. I haven't tried how this works with a Stride. Since it's a grade 3, I don't know if you can actually ride it over a grade 4. I'm assuming not, which is why I had to stop playing this. Plus, the cost is a little bit too heavy now, because getting a board presence, it's very, very hard. This is the only grade 3 that you can actually get some value of with the Pearly Titan, but it is only 10k, but you can retire it to get a booster from your deck, but it's not really worth it. But yeah, Spinal Driver is just a break ride. When you break ride over it, you get 10k in a crit for that turn, and you can also retire at most 2 of your reguards and draw a card for each of them, which is really hard to achieve just because you're usually not going to have anything, because everyone retires your whole field nowadays. So we're in a very control heavy meta, which is fine because you're semi-controlled as well. We're going to have only 2 copies of the Arc Raider. I don't think you want to play 3 or 4 of them, but yeah, when it attacks a Vanguard, retire to get 5k, and then if it hits, you retire one of your opponent's units, usually back row because it is attacking Vanguard. And then your main centerpiece is the Pearly Titan. As I mentioned, if you have an Ancient Dragon Heart card, so any of your Vanguards, one of the other reasons you don't want to play Dark Rex, in case you're stuck having to ride into that, but you can call a card if you want, then you have to retire both. A card on each player's side of the field. This means that if you have a booster on the field, you have to retire it. If you have nothing on the field, you don't have to retire it, and you can just retire your opponent's unit and you're good to go. But if you have something on the field, you're forced to retire it, unfortunately. So, which is good, because a lot of how it works now is you don't really want to have a lot of units on the field, just so your opponent can't do any of their crazy shenanigans, because it depends on, you know, them retiring or binding or doing something to your units on the board, right? So you can clear out your field, or locking it, for example, against like Link Joker. So it's nice that you can clear out your field. And then it gets attack equal to the sum of the units that were retired, and if the sum is 20 or more, you get a critical, which is nice, gives you a little extra pressure. So you have a bunch of extra grade 3s, you can play 1 down, retire an intercept, and your grade 3 get a crit. and an extra attack into the face, which is very nice. I play one of this, the Madhu, because I don't have another Pearly Titan at the moment, and I don't have enough materials to craft because I just crafted the third one. Likewise, that is why we're playing one of these, because I just don't have any other strides that I can play. And then finally we're playing Messiahs, or Harmonix Messiah, just for the Link Joker matchup. And that's the deck. Let's go ahead and try and do one more match. Hopefully they're not actually VP farming, and hopefully they're not playing Vanguard ZERO, actually. I tried to do a match just now against Link Joker. They're actually playing Glendios, but I had to go do something in between. And it was kind of funny, because actually this hand is not horrible. Because I actually just went into Pearly Titan while they were at, ooh, Dungaree! No way! Hey, that's what's up. If you don't know, one of the only other deck profile type videos on this channel for Vanguard ZERO are for Dungaree, never mind, it's a VP farmer. So we're on an accidental win streak here. As I was saying, the previous match I had to go up against Link Joker was Glendios, and I actually just went into Pearly Titan, got a crit, accidentally 1 out of 4. But I cut that one out just because I had to go do something in between the match. We can stay with this hand, actually. It's pretty good. We're now also going second, which is nice. Then, as you saw, the following match was against a VP farmer. But now we're going up against either Gear Chronicle. Going second is very good. Gear Chronicle, I wouldn't say is a horrible matchup. They do sort of get rid of my rears, but I typically don't play any back row, and they're probably going to end up retiring my rears anyways in terms of like my intercepts, so it's not the worst thing in the world. We're going to go here into the Prison Bird because we do have the Spinal Legend if we need to, or Spinal Driver I should say, if we need to go into Stride, which we probably will. Although getting a Quake in the drop is very nice, and I'm losing a heal trigger right off the bat is also very nice. The only thing that I might have to worry about for this matchup is if they go into the what is it called, the Epac Maker, the new stride from Fighters Collection, which is actually I think the one on the sleeves here. Actually no, not that. That is kind of annoying because he can multi-attack with that, and since you already get rid of an intercept, that is like 3 attacks to the face. But the horse, I don't know what the horse's name is, but he can randomly put stuff on my field into my deck and call out other random stuff, which is kind of annoying because I kind of really need my defensives, like my heals and my PGs, and there's a chance it might get that out. Well, actually, no, not the heals. I think it's the PGs they can get out, because I think it's grade 1 or greater. That's the only thing I can think of that's really annoying for this matchup, other than like the obvious things like losing an intercept each turn, and then the fact that I just lost 2 Dino Crowds. I was going to ride one, but that's obviously not going to be the option. So we're actually going to go here into this. We're going to use our classic patented Iguana Lord plus Baby Rex combo here in order to get the Tyranno Legend out here. So that fills us up pretty good for Legion next turn, or Stride, we'll see what happens. So we can push them to 3 or get rid of the Stride Fighter. I don't think the Stride Fighter is an issue, unless they go to Fate Rider, which would kind of suck. But that's not that big of a deal. They're playing the 8K, which is kind of interesting. It might be their one-off, which is fine. We are going to go into Tyranno Quake. We can retire this, which gives us 3 cards, unless we get like a heal or something. I don't think we necessarily should go for Legion this turn, so we'll probably just ride Tyranno Quake, discard Spinal Driver, and that'll give us a good drop zone for Legion. That's a nice draw there. It's not going to matter too much because it's still 19, but getting an extra card in hand is nice. It is, however, unfortunately, the Magmarm, which we could go into. Legion nowadays is always very tricky because you have to, you know, balance that out with Striding, which might be more beneficial, especially because it lets you draw a card. It's usually very good just because of that. We're going to get another draw into a Tyranno White, which is actually very, very good. So right now we can actually just go ahead and retire these 2, get a crit. So let's go ahead and play the Tyranno Quake. We can go into the SP, Pearly Titan. we will discard this in order to stride. And thankfully, since most of the times this stays on the field, I can use it to the first stride turn get a nice crit right away. So we will not call. We will retire Legend and their grade 2, which gives us a total of 2k, and we get the nice boost here. Now let's see what's the most effective way we can do this. They're going to bot deck everything anyway, so we might as well be as aggressive as we can here. But I don't know if that's very possible. So I might honestly just go for something kind of vanilla. I don't think we can really survive next turn, so I might have to play a couple of intercepts, to be honest. Alright, so let's go into this. And let's go ahead and play the... I really don't want to, but let's play this instead. See if we can survive a turn. Which I doubt we can. I just don't really want to... I don't see a line where I survive this matchup without having the Tyranno bite next turn, but we'll see here. We do have a bunch of heals left, I believe. Alright, so that's a crit right away, or sorry, a PG right away, thanks to the crit. We do have 3 heals. We are only at 4, so as long as they don't go into, like, the, I forget what it's named, the burnt-looking dragon, we should be fine. I don't think they can go into that, because that has to be, I think, GB2. So we should be able to survive next turn. And we can, depending on what the board looks like, we can either Legion or maybe go into another Pearly Titan and get a couple of attacks to the face. I don't really have any way to restand unless I get... I mean, I can return a Quake. If they stay at 5, I can technically use the Iguana Gourd, since they're more than likely going to hit the grade 2. They're going to try here to go to Mystery Flare, which I'm assuming is not only because they have a bunch of counterblasts, but maybe they just don't have any better options at the moment. So let's see how this works out for them. If they do get it off, I'm dead, which is fine. It's just ironic that I won 2 games in a row, but they were all not on the video, and the ones I'm actually showing, the matches I'm actually showing on the video are me just losing, if that's the case, but we'll see what happens here. He has to attack with that first, right, with the Mystery Flare, otherwise, there you go, there's the crit, so it's not going to work out, unfortunately, for him. So we're just going to go to 5, he is still on 2 cards in hand and 5 damage, which means my best bet is to go into Pearly Titan this turn and just swing 3 times to the face. So, keeping the Tyranno bite is fine, didn't really change much. We're going to take a hit here, which is fine, and it's going to be another Tyranno bite. That's fine. So let's just go ahead and do our thing. It'd be nice if we can get a grade 3, but actually we can probably just do... maybe I can boost with that. No, it actually doesn't even make a difference which one I go for. I guess we can have that as a backup. We can't actually use that to retire, so actually maybe that's what I'll do. But it is nice to get the Dino Crowd, is what I was trying to say. Gonna get a heal, which is decent. So let's go ahead and play this Tyranno Quake here. Hit both the, I think, Glimmer Breath is what this is called, and our own Tyranno Quake, that is, yes, Glimmer Breath, okay. So now what we can do is we can go ahead and, I think the play is actually to go into double Iguana Gorg, because that gives me guaranteed 3 attacks this turn. So it's going to double Iguana Gorg here, so let's go ahead and swing in with Iguana Gorg. He's going to block that. Then let's go with our Dino Crown. We eat Iguana Gorg. We use Iguana Gorg's effect to overcall over the other Iguana Gorg. And then we can use Iguana Gorgs that just got overcalled to bring him back. So we just reset a whole column for, 2 counterblasts, which is nice. And then, how many heals does he have in deck? He does have 2, so I could play against the double heal here and go with Iguana Gorg. And if he heals, then I got a giant fucking dinosaur with the crit. So yeah, thankfully I actually managed to get a win. I think that actually lets me go into the next rank, which is nice. Let me just double check. Yep. So, yeah, Tachikaze looking pretty good. I'll be very interested to see what happens when it actually gets support in the future, but for now, this is actually pretty reasonable, and it doesn't really have such a bad matchup against all the stuff that's out there. But in any case, that's going to do it for today. I've been CurlyHairedVanguard, and take care of yourself.